Hello, I'm Michael Thompson, the Director of the Broader Impacts and Research Organization, or BIR for short. Broader impacts, or what we call BI, has increasingly become more and more important in today's academic and agency landscape. Therefore, it is important that everyone has a baseline understanding of broader impacts, especially as it pertains to the National Science Foundation, or NSF. This baseline understanding of BI or BI core competencies are necessary for allowing us to move to the next level in understanding, developing, implementing, evaluating, and sustaining broader impacts, which ultimately provides us with the ability to achieve high-quality broader impacts and high competitive BI for NSF proposals. With this in mind, we have initially provided 4 video and audio broadcasts that can be accessed and listened to at your own pace in what we hope to be an easily digestible format. These videos and audio broadcasts provide an overview of what one should know about broader impacts in general and as it pertains to NSF, that then allows one to easily matriculate to the next level of actions needed and discussions pursued for achieving high quality as well as high competitive BI for their NSF proposals. Before each video, we will provide a brief synopsis to what each video is about to help you navigate to the sections of most interest. The first video following this introduction provides us with an overview of the entire goals, what materials are provided, and materials that will be used not only for this video series, but for the rest of the series that we have yet to provide. To get the most out of this series, you should watch the videos in order. However, if you are not currently interested in listening to the description of these materials and etc., please go ahead and skip to the second, third, and fourth video. This concludes our introduction, and with that said, I would like to welcome you to the new Faculty National Science Foundation Broader Impacts Workshop Seminar Series. We're going to go ahead and begin, and so let's start by talking about the workshop series goals. You've seen some of this before. We want you to understand what BI is. We want you to understand how to do NSF broader impacts, which will be the focus of this specific one. We'll have you develop and begin to implement your broader impacts plan. By the time you're finished, you'll have written your BI NSF section, and you'll be able to evaluate that, which becomes very important. And if you're planning on submitting to NSF after the first time, it's important to be able to understand how to sustain and grow your BI program or portfolio. And if you're thinking about the career, this becomes very important because career is a little bit different in which you have to have an integrated research and education plan. What you're doing in your broader impacts in general should add to for the integrated education and research plan when you plan to write that for NSF. In addition, a lot of people don't think about once they're ready to submit to NSF, well, how does even NSF or how would anybody know that some of your things exist? This is beginning to talk about a digital identity. And then if people are currently writing to NSF and they have questions about broader impacts, feel free to ask. So this session will be all about you. To cover all these things, we will really have 5 different workshops. And this is really the first one. And so we're going to give a lot of information. We are going to cover a lot of different things today. But then after that, in each workshop, we're going to really then break those things apart and go through those piece by piece. If you're wondering how many different things that we have, there's probably about 12 different things that are in your packet, and we're going to go through those really quick so that you can have an idea because we'll begin to talk about those. The first one, which we've already talked about, is an overview of the workshop series. We have a broader impacts brochure. This just looks like this. Okay, now there's 2 things in the broader impacts brochure. There's one that kind of just tells you is a little bit of marketing about what BIR, the Broader Impacts and Research Organization, does. The other one will be very important because it's a BI definitions guide. How do you begin to talk in this language of broader impacts becomes important. So you're going to hear me at some point in time talk about outcomes and outputs and activities and plans and portfolios. All of those things, as I'm going along, you can go, okay, well, did I miss something? You can go and look at this. and say, okay, this is specifically what he's talking about. After that, we have the National Alliance for Broader Impacts Guiding Principles document. National Alliance for Broader Impacts is composed of around at least 200 institutions, I believe now. And this is nationally vetted, and they're supported by NSF. This goes through all the different questions and gets a lot more specific. So one of the tasks of this document is to help reviewers and help faculty begin to standardize the process in which they're beginning to think about broader impacts. Now, you've probably seen something like this before. We have a National Science Foundation merit reviews and criteria for your viewing, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. We also then have the BIR framework for evaluating high quality broader impacts. So when we begin to talk about evaluating, it goes from everything from figuring out how to do, how to organize, how to structure, how to write, right? And then also how to evaluate. There's probably 2 other evaluation documents, and that covers kind of just some general ideas on evaluation. And we'll get to more of that also. You will also see the merit review frequently asked questions that NSF has provided, so NSF facts. There are several questions that you might have that other faculty or other investigators have already had. And so this provides pretty much good answers from NSF to say, hey, this is what we would like to see. One of my favorite pieces, actually, that's in here is something that Alicia Needler, our Executive Associate Vice President of Research, made, which is basically how NSF proposals are reviewed, which looks at the intellectual merit criteria and broader impacts criteria in a nice, compact way. I really like this, and we'll talk about this a lot more. You also have a copy of the PowerPoint slides. Now, they might be in a slightly different order, but you'll have everything covered there. And if you need something else, we always can provide that for you. And then we're going to have a 5-step development plan that we will eventually talk about. And that will come into play probably the next workshop after you've completed your FISAP and we begin to talk about those types of things. Now, lastly but not least, what you will have is debunking the 20 major myths about broader impacts. I've talked to a lot of faculty all over the place, and every time they come up to me and they say, hey, Michael, right? And you know me as the broader impacts guy because that's what a lot of you have called me. Every time you go to talk about broader impacts, well, you know, I'm a little confused. What is it? Is it just for NSF? Is it not for NSF? Is there something, how can we all be involved in this? And so what that helped me to do is just put together basically this debunking the 20 major myths about broader impacts. And it's a draft, right? So we're actually going to revise it, but it begins to give you a good idea of about broader impacts in general and then for NSF, and we're going to cover that here in a little bit. So all of these things help you to write your broader impacts, understand broader impacts, understand NSF broader impacts, evaluate it, sustain it, grow it, and advance in your broader impact so that everything is pretty successful, right? So in other words, we want to make sure that you know everything there is about the broader impacts criterion.